Hi, I'm Sandy Genovese and welcome to this episode of the Ellison Education video series. You know, cut flowers, they will last more than a week when they're cut from paper. If you look here, this is so much fun to make. I've used paper flowers in order to create this really adorable floral bouquet, and then it's just held together with a ribbon, and we're going to see how easy it is to make it. The thing that you want to do first is maybe decide how many flowers you want to cut. So here's the die that I used, and you can see there's two styles of flower, and there are 2 or 3 different centers that you can place on the flower so that you get all kinds of variations of how to decorate the flowers. This is fun for the kids to do. You can use pattern paper, or they can make, I used a white pin here just on a plain blue to create that hash mark, and all of that is something that the kids will enjoy doing. When you have as many flowers as you want, then it's time to look at the structure. And what I did was, I've done this a couple of times. This time I had 8.5 by 12-inch construction paper. I've also used 12 by 12 construction paper, and that also works great. You're going to fold it in half, and then if you want to come in about 1.5 inches, it's not critical. You could, about 1.5 inches or 1 3/4 is good. And then I marked here with pencil every 1/2 inch. If you're working with older students and they're measuring in math, then this is a good thing. Have them lay down and mark every 1/2 inch. Then leaving the two together, the folded together, cut from the folded edge along your 1/2 inch pencil lines until you get to this mark here. Now I'm not going to stop, I'll cut a couple, but just so you can see what I mean. But the kids are going to do this. If your kids are younger and they're not in the measuring stage, you'll save a little bit of time by just taking it over to a paper cutter. Here you can see the pencil line that I used as my guide, and just on the paper trimmer I went in and I cut 1/2 inch increments. Sometimes I didn't go all the way to the edge, sometimes I did. It really is not critical, but the idea is to get all of these cuts, a whole bunch of them. Then you want to curl it, and the easiest thing is to find something. I've used like an old film canister if you happen to have any of those around, but a marker, a fat marker works as well. I'm going to use this to roll this up, and I'm going to staple it, but it also looks good to have adhesive on there. So I'm going to place some adhesive on the end, both on the inside and the outside, so that when I get to that end, it won't want to flip up. And then I'm just going to start at one end here, and I'm going to curl using that fat marker as my guide. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The whole beauty of this thing is there's really no way that you can mess it up and do it wrong. You're going to bring this around and bring this around, and you want to make sure that this is loose enough that you can get your stapler in here. Once you have it loose enough, then fasten it down, slide your stapler in, and I'm going to staple it kind of at the end. And now I'm going to slide it again and staple it even higher up. Now that will really keep it from wanting to roll. In addition, I go back and I take number 10 size rubber bands, and I'm going to slide them a little ways up because it really does help to keep the construction paper over time from wanting to drape too far down. So you now have the structure. Now it's a question of which ones are you going to place flowers on, and the weight of the flowers is going to make this just drape beautifully. So if you're going to add, as you see I've done here, if you're going to add a ribbon that's a bow, or it can be seam binding like you see here, it's easiest to do it now while it's easy to lie flat and go ahead and tie your ribbon or tie your twine or raffia, whatever it is that you want to use, just for extra decoration. That looks kind of fun. Then what you have is all the flowers, and I'm going to just turn all of these over. Let me use my tweezers so I can get underneath here. And I'm going to put adhesive on the back of all of these, just right basically in the center. And then I'll go back and decide which of the green layers I want to add flowers to. And once you have several flowers on there, then you can go back and add smaller ones if you want. I usually leave the outside layers to add as support. So I usually come in to one layer, and if you'll look here, I'm going to open this up, put my finger inside, and where that fold line is where I'm going to push on the adhesive that's in the middle. So it's going to fasten it down, and the layers behind it are going to help keep it from wanting to drape too much. I'm going to take another one. This time I'll come over on this side, do the same thing, add a flower, and I just keep working my way all the way around, adding flowers every place. Now I have one more flower to place of the first batch that I've created, and at this point then I kind of like to stop and look at it and see, oh, you know what, it would look kind of good to have another, but maybe a smaller flower on some of these additional areas. But you can see, oh my gosh, it goes together so quickly and easily. You know, a flower bouquet is going to bring bunches of joy to moms or anyone else that you want to give one to.